So, James, in one of your videos, you talk about sevenness meeting a heptagon. And in that video, you say that when sevenness meets a heptagon, it must necessarily fit within it. And I didn't understand that. Why must it fit within the heptagon?
I think, first of all, what we're trying to do by modeling it and having metaphors and allegories like heptagon and star, they're configurations which have got reality in the physical realm. They're forms.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the realm that we're having to relate to and having to negotiate, because we're in the world of form. But they point to a grander reality beyond form. So that which we call seven is doesn't know itself as seven. It just is this magnificent energetic being of light that's beyond the world of numbers and form. It's beyond it all. There is a realm beyond any form at all. You know, and as soon as it comes from these transcendental realms, the spirit world, into form, at that point, one of these grand, great archangels, let's call them archetypes, if you like, becomes sevenness.
Mm.
It's a vibe, it's an atmosphere, it's a reality of its own nature. It's something beyond our understanding, but it's sevenness. And then when it actually enters the world of duality, it has to decide whether to be more feminine or more masculine, because that's what we do with duality. An electrical current is just a separation of positive and negative. You know, human species, a separation between positive and negative, or masculine and feminine, we prefer to call it. You know, so everything is subject to that separation into polarized forms. And what we're saying is the star and the heptagon are polarizations of the number seven. One more masculine, one more feminine. You know, so there's concave and convex. That's what duality is. You know, as soon as duality is formed, you're bound to have one more masculine, one more feminine. And so the star, because it's pointed and you know, we associate that with masculine, it looks a bit like a phallus, you know, whereas the heptagon looks a bit like a circle, a womb, you know, so we could see the polarization occurring. So you couldn't, for example, put a heptagon happily as giving birth to a square, any more than a seven-pointed star would fit within a pentagram.
Mm.
It has to be 7 and 7, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think I found myself struggling trying to get my minuscule human mind around this concept, which you've already said is, and it's beyond our understanding.
I trust you are not alone in that.
And I think I got hung up on the idea, which is a very human idea, of sevenness in its entirety taking the form and being surrounded by, absorbed by the heptagon. And as you
yeah, the heptagon cannot exist until sevenness exists.
Oh, don't, yeah. Yes.
Sevenness comes first.
Okay.
Well, how could a heptagon exist before the concept of seven?
It can't. No, you're right. It can't.
So sevenness just breaks into two sides. One side is a heptagon, the other side is a star. That's how I'm seeing it. And like I say, this is just modeling. I mean, it's all beyond our understanding, but we can get a taste for it. It's got to check out. If we can have a mathematical model for it, then we can say, well, it fits our reality. And if we can't make a mathematical model for it, then it probably doesn't, actually.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So another statement you made in your video was that the star is inclined towards its birth father?
Well, again, metaphor and stuff. We're saying that when the star is separated from the heptagon, it's independent of mother. That's the metaphor we're using. And it's got two motivations, equal and opposite. One is to go back, to cling to its mother's apron strings, to feel homesick, and to yearn for mother.
Okay.
And the equal and opposite one is you know, I'm a man, or I'm an independent woman. It's not a gender thing from the star's point of view. We're calling the star masculine, but as soon as it's independent of the mother, then it doesn't matter what you call it, but it's got this principle of independence. And that, I'm saying, is like yearning for the father, in the sense that the father represents the existence of non-mother. You imagine a baby at the mother's breast, and there's this person that comes in and leaves and goes away to go to work and comes back again, and that's a very intimate part of the baby's experience. The second most intimate part, the first is mother, second is father. The father goes away and comes back. What's this away business? There must be a way, and the star wants to find out what away is all about. That's our motorcycle kind of imagery, isn't it?
Yeah.
We wanted to go away and have an adventure. And the purpose of the soul's incarnation is to have an adventure, surely, to experience itself more.
Yeah, nice, thank you. And then another thing which confused me a little was the idea of a star projecting out from within itself another heptagon and recreating its mother.
Well, it shouldn't be that strange, because that's what we do. We leave mum, and then we're spending most of our lives looking for something which we think is different. But we seek comfort, and the most comfortable thing that we ever find is that which is closest to mother, or whatever was your nurturing experience during childhood. You know, it's an observable psychological pattern that we've got to try and recreate the comfort and security and loving tenderness of the mother's breast somehow in our lives. Even though we're adults, we don't really grow up totally. And so rather than, we could never find that, because it requires a baby. It requires us to be a baby to appreciate what a breast is. We can't have it because we're not babies anymore, and there's no breast, but we can't have it, you know. But we never had a feeling as strong as that ever, and so we yearn for it, even though we shouldn't, you know. So it's unconscious yearning, and what that does is it projects out into the environment. The only time we ever actually feel safe is when the environment that we're in reminds us sufficiently of mother for us not to feel in danger. So metaphor, you know, but we do recreate the mother in our environment. So the star's mother was the heptagon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Richard.